We are in a kind of war with nature. We see it in the storms, in the weather, and everything.
Heike di Benedetto has 3 decades of experience being a bridge and translator between humans and the natural world.
Realizing it, that I have that ability and gift, it changed something in me completely. I couldn't let go.
Being able to sense energies and talk to natural beings and spirits has taught her just how much of this connection humanity has lost.
Nature is not only the trees or what we're seeing, it's really a hidden world. Like in Iceland, they say there's hidden people. And there's really a whole world to discover around us who's living beside us and we don't know it. They experienced the last few hundred years that we didn't care, that we came as aggressor on the land, and they don't understand that we are not connected anymore. Every second we interact, they feel every emotion, even the thoughts we're thinking. We have today devices. You can measure that a tree goes in stress.
It's a chemical reaction.
It's a reaction, yes.
Wow.
Luckily, there's hope if we can only open up enough to see it.
We are like now adults in the spiritual realm also. We should take responsibility to clean up what we messed before. They are also a support and help into that new world we want to accomplish.
How would you guide people to open up their senses more and be more perceptive of the things we usually don't believe exist or cannot perceive?
Very good question.
I'm so delighted to sit here with you.
Yes.
In this magical place. It's beautiful trees, and it was interesting because I really wanted to come here because I've been here before and it feels so special. And then on the way we see that the storms that have been here recently took out the majority of the forest, yet this is still intact in between the beautiful big rocks. Heike, I'm really delighted to sit down with you and go deep into the connection with nature, what we have forgotten, how we can reclaim it, and how we can live more in connection and in balance with nature and all the unseen realms that you have access to. So I would love actually for you to hear from you, like, how would you describe what you do?
Yeah, so thank you first, Lars, that you invited me, because then I can make it more aware what I'm doing and what probably everybody has the access to, because we are part of nature. We are not outside of it. We say often we go into nature because we have a kind of artificial world, but still there. Everywhere we are connected. There's no way we are not connected. So it's kind to break through that illusion or to open up the awareness. So I'm a kind of bridge for speaking for the nature, giving nature a voice, and bringing into this knowledge into our human world, and also the other way around, because sometimes nature's not understanding what we are doing. They feel us only the last few hundred years as aggressive and only taking and not being involved, not asking, only taking everything for granted. And also to change that or giving back to the nature and saying, okay, we lost track of it. It's not really when we take something that we do it in an aggressive way normally, but we don't know anymore to ask for it or to be involved. And so it's so great that we probably bring it to a larger scale to have that kind of awareness again, or to know there is a path to go back to that partnership.
Yeah, and I've experienced you a couple of times. I've seen what you can do. I felt to some extent the results of it in Egypt and now also here in Sintra. And like for example, a few days ago we had this event of 2 days. The weather forecast was quite bad, and you say, well, you're already tuning in before you actually come here, and then you like, when you land, you talk to the nature, talk to the trees of the land that we were visiting. I'm really curious, like, how does that look and feel? And because like I don't see or perceive the things that you do, or not yet. And is it as clear as you see us, or is it more like, does it feel like a dream realm or another layer, or how is the experience for you? And then what do you actually do? How do you communicate?
Yeah, my main skill is communication. So I'm not seeing very much. So I have them in my head, the voices. So like we entered here the place, already I listened to the first guardian of the place. He was talking to me. So I didn't see him, but then I sense him. I sense him that there is a being, a spirit, and some they show off then afterwards when I'm longer there. They trust me to show a little bit of their size or of how they want to show up. So it's not that they have really a physical figure. So they present themselves also a little bit how we want them to look like.
Okay, right. In a way that makes sense for us, let's say.
Yeah, so if you're really scared, they could be really monstrous, and and they want to scare you away. And in another way, they could be really lovely, because they can, they show off like they want to. A lot of them. Not everybody, but a lot of them.
Yeah. And
so we're already deep into it.
yeah, because why does that happen then? Why would they scare away, or why would they appeal to the fear of people?
Yeah, because they experienced, as I said, the last few hundred years, and some places probably thousands of years, that we didn't care, that we came as aggressor on the land, as somebody who really don't take care, and they see that we don't keep promises, like the first settlements. Because before, I have to one step earlier, before we were like nomads, going with the flow, with the animals, with, so we are not interacting so much on one place, but then the settlement came, and so the humans took a place, and in that time we understood that we are part of it, and we ask for it and say, okay, that's our place. And so everything around protected us, get inspiration, was also co-creating with us. And then they said, okay, you are here, but this place, please don't touch. That's our gathering place. We do our kind of rituals and things like that. That's like holy, sacred. And we say it at that time, yes, we never touch that, So we know already from the Celtic tribe, we know it because the Romans wrote that down. They had like the nematon, and it's a kind of that survival. That the nematon was so holy that they say human don't touch that area, and probably only druids once a year was going there to reconnect and being a part of the celebrations what they are doing there. And then the time was going on and people forgot about it, or a lot of the wisdom was killed and destroyed. And so the villages were growing to cities, and so we didn't keep any promise. We didn't listen, we didn't know anymore. This was a sacred place to natural beings. They need that to have their kind of energy field, and we destroyed it. And how would you feel if somebody is coming, had promises and all that, and they don't understand that we are not connected anymore? So they feel us like in a war, like we're taking. And so I also, what I said, I bring that back to the natural beings and say, no, they don't feel you or see you anymore. So that's probably a bad thing, what they're doing, but they don't do it on purpose. They don't go there and say, we destroy now this gathering place of the natural beings. They only take it, not thinking, always thinking the human beings can take everything over. And so it also balanced a bit already, getting aggression down, because they like saying, why they don't see me? I see them. And then I really explain how the human world is now. And that gives them also understanding and also a kind of feeling us. Even they don't agree, they still furious about what we are doing. But there's a kind of, okay, they don't do it on purpose. I say, no, they really, that's bad what they're doing. But probably you could help them now, not go against it and really punish them, but try to help them to remember. And really getting nature again in a kind of trust that they are also a support and help in our awakening, in regaining our alignment in consciousness. In the nature is a big part of that awakening, and to be into that new world we want to go and to accomplish. Actually, the new world is already there. We have to unfold it. But nature is a big partner in that, because they have the same interest of surviving than we as a human tribe. So being again in the same game to feel and not against each other, what is right now happening. We are in a kind of war with nature. We see it in the storms, in the weather and everything, because the weather has a very strong reaction to our human emotion. It's like we bring up a lot of load and tension, and with the weather, the Mother Earth is able to unload emotions.
Wow! So it's like it's almost the same as if when you're like we are now barefoot.
Yes.
So when you're earthing, you are also discharging build-up energy, and this is kind of the same, but on a global scale, for the earth itself.
Yes. When we now do it and ground, then the earth is able to like digest it in a way, because we bring something, and when we in balance and when we in a good mood, it's also like recharging the earth. We give a lot of back, and it's like now understanding how every second we interact, they feel every emotion, even the thoughts we're thinking. If we come here and I'm even not doing anything, but I only think, oh, this tree is not so nice, I have to cut it. You can measure it. We have today devices that a tree goes in a stress. We don't know. We can interpret it as fear or whatever, We don't know what but you can measure it.
It's a chemical reaction.
It's a reaction, yes. Wow. It's a reaction. And there's a lot of interaction. Every second we have to learn again. That's there. If we want it or not, it's there anyway. And so there's a responsibility. And when we are growing up now, and when we say we are in a process of awakening, we cannot do it without nature. We are nature.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Where did you first come to this realization? Like, did you always grow up with this connection, or was there like something that happened for you where you were, really started this journey?
Yeah, actually, for me, it was to realize it. I had it in a way, but I didn't know it because it was so normal. My grandfather, he was a dowser, with a divine stick to find water for drilling a well. So for him it was not mystical because, I mean, everybody could prove it. There's the water, and he was very good in it, like of a half a meter. When he was saying like 26 meters, it was at least 26 and a half, you could find the water, know. So this was like for him, he said, yeah, that's not mystical. It's like, you know how to do it, But I was not so interested in water. I was always looking for why the location is like that and what is the difference. Like, why is the church in the village there and not on that place or that place? Why the pyramids stay in the desert in Egypt? Why they choose that place? So, so I wrote the first history background on my village. I was 12 years old, questioning it. Why the village was built there. And then there's a lot of stories going on, and I was almost 35 as I realized that not everybody is doing it. And that was my coming out, because then I asked the others when we had been on sacred places or something, and I was like blowing up. And they say, Heike, this is only stones, old stones. What are you talking about? And I saying, you don't feel that? And still today, I sometimes have to ask the others because it's so normal, it's so in interaction that I cannot sometimes understand the other path. I don't know how you feel, how it is to not having that. But it was really late, and when I was like 35, then I watched back and then I have seen it. Yes, my whole life I was searching location. When we have been on vacation, I was the one who couldn't lie on the beach. I had to go to the church and do some kind of ruins and sacred places. I was always like searching, and it is amazing. It was, and I was always falling over them. I was finding them. I don't know, even not having a map or something. There was like an inner compass or attraction, to it. But I found out like I was 35, and at that time, I had a good marriage, I had a very good career, I started marketing, I was in the international marketing, I was the head of marketing for Europe, for American company, so everything was fine in my life. I didn't have to change, I mean, for the normal setting, what we know in normal life, everything was fine. I was really going up in my career because I was very successful with that, what I was doing. But realizing it, that I have that ability and gift, it changed something in me completely. I couldn't let go. It's like really getting the red pill, in Matrix. I couldn't go back. And that was really hard because my husband at that time said, I married a businesswoman. What is happening to her? I don't understand. And so it was not easy to go that path because it really got me to I got divorced, because we couldn't continue the path together. Even we had a good marriage. We're still friends today. I say that's like opening the champagne. You cannot put
the pressure on the bottle back.
Yes. It was bubbling in me. And that was interesting, and I really want to make that also as a statement or help others. They are probably in the way of transitioning and to think how to do it differently. There was one voice very strongly in me who said, you have to do it. Even you try it for like 2 years, you can always go back to your business, but you have to do it. But that was the only voice. Everybody else was, Heike, what you're doing? You're crazy. My husband, like, you are not doing that. If not, you'll be going divorced. My parents, my friends, I lost a lot of friends on the way because then I realized they were not interested in Heike. They were interested in the position of, she's the head of marketing. So I know now what are true friends.
Wow. Very sobering.
Yes.
Wow.
But in the time it happened, it questioned me. And also the social ladder, I say, I fall down like head of marketing, and then, what are you doing, Geomancy? That's somehow you give it a name. Yeah. Even I do it probably differently than in the normal geomancy work. But I have to give it a name to have a category for the world. And yes, this was like, it's a path. And from that, yes, nice visit. In that 2 years dry, it's now almost 30 years. Wow. I started 97, and in 1999 I opened a business of it because I decided.
Okay, so we just stopped recording an amazing podcast with Heike. Hello, Heike.
Hi.
And about the nature, about connecting to nature, nature spirits. And we stopped recording, and she's like, well, actually, we should also talk about the dark side. And one of the things that happened in the beginning, in the first half hour of the shoot, they kept cars coming by. There was like construction work. There was someone from the police that was coming and was saying, hey, it's closed over here.
A Serra de Sintra está fechada.
Okay.
Huh? Close.
Yes, because we took that place like for 2-3 hours. I said, okay, I reclaimed the place, only didn't want to interact with all the rituals. Everything was happening here on that sacred ground. And then dark forces disagreed on that side. And often we fight against the dark forces, but that's also one part we should include. We should work through it like we do it also on our body. We work with the shadows, and so not saying, oh, this is very bad, so we're going there and giving flowers and acknowledgement for, yeah, you're here, it's fine. We give them flowers because they never get something, also for healing,
Yeah.
and I think that's calming down.
Yeah.
It's coming from our heart, and then everything
solved itself like crazy. Like this policeman that didn't speak English, that was like a minute before giving me like, no, you have to leave now. And I kind of walked away, and then Heike said, no, go back and try again. And I walked, and I was like, I know you don't speak English, I'm still gonna explain, like, hey, can we just stay here? We're having a beautiful conversation in nature, about nature. And then he was like, 30 minutes. And I was like, 1 hour? And he's like, okay. And he walked away, and then the construction work was done, and everyone left, and we had since then beautiful, quiet nature.
Yeah, that's how it works, because the dark forces couldn't interact with us here on the place because it took the place in the ritual, but they try to give us like annoying situations. Yes.
Yeah, so we are connected in so many more ways than we can imagine, and this is just a beautiful example.
Yeah, so I started with it in 97, and in 99 I decided to open a business with it, because you have to make also your living. I mean, that's also the world. You can do a lot of wonderful work, but it has also somehow to come something back. And that's in our world money also to pay my bill, and yes, and the 2 years now, it's almost 30 years. It's like 27 years now.
Yeah. And so you help people, businesses mainly, to be more connected with, like, what is it exactly? How would you describe it? Because you like, it's about like connecting again to the land, to the spirits, to do things in a different way where you're not fighting against it, but working with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are two different like businesses I have. That one is Vital Concepts. So this is the consulting I do for private homes and for business and big businesses. Mm-hmm. For developing on land, So I do first profiling the land, that you really understand where you are, what this land is about, and because you take a part, a responsibility in the landscape. And when I do the profiling, it's also kind of diagnosis, what happened to the land, because the history, it's like imprints, and these imprints, like if there was like a battlefield, that makes something. Like I have done a big shopping center, and there was a lot of drama happening there. And so there was a big investment of the bank who built that very huge shopping center in Germany. And that's not nice if then you don't have the return on investment, because nobody is really going there to shop.
Yeah.
But that was nice, the shopping center. It was new. So they asked me, why it's not happening. We are on the right place. We have the right size and manager and outlook and companies in there, everything. But why people not showing up in the way they should? And so I sensed it, and I was explaining all the drama, everything what happened. And then you can go into a transformational state in that energy, in that imprints. And when I had done that, the shopping center had 2.5 million more people coming, showing up. And nobody of them knew that there was like a healing on the land. So that's very powerful tool in the business. In the business, you can measure it. In the private, people are more calm when they say, I bought a new house, I'm not arriving, I'm not feeling good, or people are ill, or very bad, very bad things happen. Like in one house, the son was taking, it's nice,
Yeah,
we
nice.
get some.
Yeah. Big bumblebee.
Was taking his life, and so the family could not stay in the house anymore. So there are many things why you also in the private, but you don't measure it. In a way, you sense it. You say, oh, now I can sleep. Now I recover from my illness. Now we have more peaceful environment to really grow our family. We have a good base, a good foundation, a good foundation. So these different things I have, like in the private and in the business. And I should say 80% of what I'm doing is already existing development, existing buildings. It's only 20%. It's really start from scratch. That's the nicest thing, because you still can do a lot of things. The other, you have to deal with what is there. And the second business I have is the School of Earth Wisdom, and that's where I do the trainings with the people to bring them into nature, to get them the senses awakened. It's not so much in the Geomancy school that I teach about the wisdom. I teach how you are able to receive the wisdom.
Okay, great, because I would love to learn that, or to, get a taste of that. Like, can you describe, like, how would you start that process? How would you guide people to open up their senses more and be more perceptive of the things we usually don't believe exist or cannot perceive?
Very good question, but also it's not to answer in what way, because I have different seminars or different weekends, or even sometimes a whole week, and we have different purposes. So there are people, they want to feel like what's going on underground. So like how to find the water underground. It's very different from like speaking to trees. So for example, when I want to train them to feel it, I go first on a bridge, a very small bridge on water, because then you see the water and you can start to learn how does it feel to be on top of the water, because you know the water is floating under your feet. And so we go in the training of that feelings, because you are the measurement, you are the device. And so I train I do the training on your device, and everybody's a little bit different. So when you had operations on your body, often these are very sensitive places, and then I have to see how your reaction is. You know, if you have like how your senses react when I bring you to different situations, and then I explain you, that is now the sense of the waterline, keep that in mind. And then you probably tell me, I had that more often already. And I say, yeah, that is when you feel the water. So
I bring,
I bring you the awareness that you learn about the reaction of your body again, because the reaction is there, but you don't know what do you feel, and that sense, you know. And so I do slowly getting more and more deeper in that way when you want to have that training, or when you go in communication with the tree, then we first learn about the tree, how the tree has his own field, not every tree wants to talk to you, or to be, to be respectful, to see, to learn first how to approach.
Just like every human.
Yes, not every human
either,
wants to get a hug, directly. If you don't know them and you come to them and say, I love you so much, I hug you. Oh, I don't know if I love you. Yes, and that's a little bit same. So we learn step by step the approach, and then when we know how to get in contact or how we find a tree, we build up a friendship, and it also deepens. And then when you experience, you get really sensations, you get messages, and then you have the tool. And then you try to get all the wisdom, it's flowing through. That's why this school called Earth Wisdom, because the wisdom is there, and I want to teach the access to that. So I think there are wonderful schools also around. They teach you the wisdom, and my school is more like the access to it.
Or the practical, learning the skill. Yeah.
And when you have the skills, the next thing would be, if you really have that passion about it, because you really have to feel it, how to interact, to really get the balance back, to be like what I'm doing in a way, like doing the healing process, the transformation with nature. But you need passion, because as soon you go on that path, the nature expects you help, It's even I have my business, and I have people calling me, companies calling me, but I have also nature calling me. And when nature calls, there's no way to go out. You have to go, you have to listen, and you don't get money for that. You invest, you have to travel, you have to book hotel or whatever, but you get it. Then you get it back in a different way.
Yes.
But only to tell you, when you go that path, it's like a commitment. Yeah. So that is the next step. So if people are really ready and on that path, there are only a few, they're ready, really going down that road with me, then it's really passion. Then you go really into process. You don't have to do it as a daily business like I do it. I don't do any other thing anymore since 27 years. So people I train, they have often also still their business, whatever they do, and they do it like half time or so. That's also okay.
Yeah.
It's not directly that probably you can make 100% of your living out of it.
Yeah, it's also a responsibility, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, because not many people can do what you do and interact in that way, interpret things in the right way. Yeah. I'm curious, before you talked about like working on people's homes, and then the feeling becomes different. I was thinking about Feng Shui. I know you work with that. Can you expand on that? Like, what are those techniques and what can you accomplish?
Yeah, actually, when I told you that I was 35 years old, this was my Feng Shui teacher who could read aura. And he was really pointing out that I should do something with it because he could see on my aura how I interact already, not doing anything with the earth. And so the first start for me was the Feng Shui, and in a very spiritual way also. And he told me also, he's a wonderful man, a very grandmaster in the Feng Shui, and he was also a professor in Singapore about it. So I got really a very good teaching. And it's like the Asian part of what they had a knowledge, what we have in the Western world as the Geomancy. And so bringing both worlds together, it's like a puzzle. So for me, it was now finding out that every culture kept a piece of the treasure knowledge. And right now it's great to open up and to bring the different treasures of knowledge together again as one whole, as one piece. So it was very important. I was also going into Taoistic teaching to learn how to read the information out of the land. You know, even the kind of realization came with 35. I was not directly ready for everything, you know. Even I have abilities, even I had all that communication. I didn't have the tools to do it. So there was a path also. I'm still going on. I think you never end it.
Yeah.
That's still learning.
I'd love to go into some of the stories of, like, you know, you shared this amazing story about the like the chickens that stop laying eggs in Iceland, and about the fact that in Iceland people are actually way more connected with this in general than in the Western world or the rest of the Western world. And I'm sure you have more amazing like experiences of things that you that you heard about or that you saw from your work. I'd love for you to share if you're open.
Yes, there people who know me, they know my life is a bit full of like one story after another, and they ask me to write a book, but that needs time to write a book.
Yeah.
So I'm probably more speaking about it. Yeah, shortly about Iceland. I do once a year, normally a geomancy travel, and bring people to really very special places who are interested. So they don't have to do seminars or something. They can first experience with a travel, but you have to be open, you have to be interested in that. So you can travel along, and then I show you the places, I show you the energies, I show you some technique, how to get involved and things like that. And at that time we have been to Iceland, because Iceland is the only school for elf school, it's the name, in the world. And so the man who is the chief of the school, he showed us different places, and he was telling us also about a story about the chicken strike, because to make it short, there was a chicken farm and they wanted to enlarge it, and they didn't care about there was the home of elves. And so as they were talking, we want to develop it, less and less eggs came out of the chickens. So he thought the chickens are ill, but the other people in Iceland said, no, that's because you want to build on that place where the elves live. You cannot build on that. We have to respect that. You have to put your chicken farm somewhere else. And he didn't listen. And he thought as I said, the chicken have some problem. He was calling the doctor and they didn't found anything. And he wanted to go on. He was very strict on that. Till the day he said tomorrow they want to start. And on that day, the whole farm didn't put up any egg.
Yeah.
And so there was this chicken strike. You can really read it. It was in the 60s in Iceland. It was in the newspaper because every Icelander, I think, knows that story. And as soon as he decided, I said, okay, I think it's something in the nature, it's something probably I should not do. Then he stopped the development. And then the chicken producing eggs again.
In the next day.
Yeah, the next day. So it was really, 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 I think, a good lesson for everybody. And everybody should know that story, how powerful nature is. And I see it in my work daily when we do a development or when we created a business in a place where we like the aggressive people, even you didn't build it, but you take that place where somebody really aggressively built that place into nature, you still have all the energy, like pushing you back. Don't
Right.
want you here.
Right.
And that makes you so much harder to grow your business. It's like you are in a daily fight,
Yeah.
And if you take that away, and you flow and they are in harmony again, you cannot imagine how much power it is. You get like from your back, like the wind, it's blowing from the back and brings you in your direction. And that is what the result is of, being again in an environment, in a partnership with nature, what we call earth healing. And I also should say the earth is not needing us to get healed. We're only on a different timetable. The earth on that path, probably when we had the battlefield, so that's a wound for the earth. It needs probably 2,000 years. It's healed.
Right.
But do we have 2,000 years to wait? That's one thing, that we are not on the same time frame. And the other thing is, when we grow up and wanted to be awake and aware, and we are like now adults in the spiritual realm also, or become adults, we should take responsibility to clean up what we messed before. So that are the 2 points I say when we do the earth healing. I don't have a very good word for it, but it's more like the transformational process. We do a faster, or we help the earth faster to get rid of the imprints we have done in history than the earth would do it itself in this slow motion way.
Yes. Because I think that's a very important thing to dive into, because there's this massive narrative, and for a big part righteously so, that we are destroying nature in a sense, and we are doing a lot of things to nature that we shouldn't do. Yet we can also, you're saying, we can also help it heal quicker if we do the right things. What would that future look like?
Yeah, so we could start with real simple things like asking permission. So when we probably have to take, for any reason, some tree down, we could change it so dramatically in asking before, and even in asking, it means it's including first to see him, to acknowledge the tree, saying like how beautiful he is and what he has done to that world to stand here, and explain why he cannot stay here for that reason. And nature is really supporting us, and they often agree, and they say, okay, then let go. And then help them so they take the energy back in the roots and then it's only wood, you can cut them.
Mm.
If you're not doing anything and you cut it, it's under shock, and all the trees around go in the same shock, and they want to like do a kind of let go and a greeting, last greeting before he's totally dying. And that's like for 1 week you hear a grief sound. And you probably don't hear it by your ears, but this sound is there. And then you are probably wondering in the morning, I don't know, I feel so sad. Yeah, because the sound is around you. Wow. You didn't prepare the tree. So that I meant we only take for granted everything. You know, that's a living being. And so we do the same thing. One person is cutting a tree and the other person, and you don't see the difference, but the nature feels a whole difference. It's really a shift in perceiving human beings, and also the other one who taking the tree down is still perceived as an aggressive person, you know. Mm-hmm. And you cannot build up the trust or the partnership or anything. So the first thing is really see that this is all living around us, and we are part of the living, and that constant communication. And so be more a little bit in this awake state, you know, where to listen to the birds, to be aware of the sun, to smell, to be awake. It takes more of you than being sleepy. Yeah. It takes something, you know. There was some saying in the Taoist teaching, and I thought that was very interesting, because one student came to the master and said, I want to be in that total state of enlightenment or awareness like you. Can you please teach me? And he was trying weeks for weeks that he got taught, and he was not really willing to do. And one day he said, okay, I teach you, but first you have to do a test. And he said, okay, let's do it. I said, okay, you go with that ball of water around the monastery, and you don't get any drop of that ball out. And when the drop is coming off, if I have somebody behind you, he will shut off your head. You really want to do that? So he was really thinking if he would give that for like being enlightened. And then he said, okay, yes. So it took him 2-3 days with all his attention to that water ball to go around, not losing his life, and then going back happy to the master and say, okay, I got it. Please tell me how I get enlightened. And he said, stay in that awaken, in that stay.
Stay in that presence.
Stay in that presence. Yeah. And that takes something out of us, being present, you know, because we are so comfortable to be in the different state.
And go into the mind, going into an imaginary future and into how the past should have been different.
Yes, all of, with the social media, we are everywhere, but not in the present. And nature, we only can be with them in the presence, not in somewhere, you know, in the presence.
Yeah, it makes me think of this one passage that I think I will forever remember from this amazing book. I also gave you a look in the last couple of days by Robert Lawler. He did, I think he made it this pretty much his life's work to meet with Aborigines and to really understand the culture and their ways going back thousands of years. And this book is, I think it's called Voices of the First Day, Awakening in the Aboriginal Dreamland. And it speaks of how they are so connected and that they really understand the earth, and that they have no concept or word for the two things that most torment modern man: the passage of time and the the passage of time and the accumulation of possessions. I think that's so interesting.
Yeah.
They don't understand that even, because they're only here now.
Yes, that's alignment, you're really there. There's no other state. And we always have to find our axis. We have to meditate. We have to bring us back because we fall down all the time.
Yeah.
Or we fall, out of the alignment. And so nature helps us because especially with the trees, when you sit there, they strengthen our kundalini. They can help, to when you sit on the back, and then you get like roots. And when you have big roots, then your crown chakra can open. First thing in meditation, we always do, we ground in an amazing way, because if the grounding is done, there's not much more to do, because then you
cannot grow tall without big roots.
Yes.
Without deep roots. Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot of power down there. It's not everything to find up there. There's a lot of power in the earth, and to connect and first accept we are earth beings. Even we come from star seed or whatever, there's a lot of things also right, but that's not the purpose this lifetime. We are here as human beings, connected to earth, have a body made out of earth, and being back earth when we're dying, giving our body back, so we can interact with that field here. We cannot interact with Mars. We cannot survive on Mars or Jupiter or Saturn or even in the space. That's the place here now we are incarnated. And that's a big step also, not to look for something else, to accept we are deeply a part of Mother Earth. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, it's true. We often so much, in every single way possible, look outside of ourselves for the solution, for the alleviance of pain, for whatever it is. But it might all be here, actually, if we look close enough. Yeah. You told me also you've been to Australia.
Yes.
What was that like?
Being in Australia, it brought me to that Aboriginal culture, and I got interested. I reading really books about dream time and all that, and then I've forgotten about it. And like a few days, it came back, and I was dreaming again about Australia and the Aborigines, and then you came with a book, and that was really amazing. Again, the coincidence. Yes.
What do you think we can learn from cultures like that?
The involvement, that we really not have to go into nature to really feel again we are nature, and become the tree, become the stone, feeling it from how is the perspective of a stone, how is the perspective of a tree, to understand it again, the whole concept of living, of life, that's earth. And that is something also we have always our perspective. Like I heard somebody saying, I came to that place and there's some dark forces, I had to clean it. That is our perception. So first, there was not asking if there is a need to do that. And then probably they're saying, who's coming here? Who's disturbing us? It's like, again, with human. If I see something wrong and I'm telling you, you have to change that, you are wrong, that's not good, even it's a shadow, what would you do with me? You would say, shut up, I know my... and that's what happened. We have probably very good intention, But we always look from our perspective. We have to let go that soul into the light beam, or we have now fast to clean that dark forces.
Yeah.
First, go into the field, look with, because they have their own rhythm, they have their own transformational stuff. You are called to the places when you have to do it, when the place is ready. That's also important to know. It's not having a good intention means that you're really helpful in that way. And compared really with a human, that I say, I have a good intention. I have to heal you, I didn't ask you, do you need help? Can I support you or whatever? And when I do it like that, you're not happy. Yeah.
Yeah, so true. Has there been things in all these years, 27 years, moments that really surprised you?
It surprised me, very old spirits in Asia I worked, and like the power of them, because normally when I work in Europe, humans are very powerful and we can be like in an orchestra, like dirigent. How do you say that in English?
That's a good question.
Yeah, who is standing?
Conductor.
Conductor,
Yeah.
like giving, and so that's a little bit how we work in Europe, and we have to deal a lot like with Celtic culture, with a Roman culture, things like that. In Asia, totally different, very old, very big spirits. And then once I was in communication and I was telling something like Jesus Christ, and he was saying, "Who's Jesus?" And say, "Okay, you are a few 100,000 years older than me," or even out of time,
Yeah.
So, they're sometimes so surprising to get the different perspective of the other side, and also to have a different perspective on when we see now the forest is dying. In Germany we have at least large areas, and then people come and say, okay, then let's plant this and this and this because they are more used for the dry land. So again, it's our perspective. We don't ask the forest or the land or the nature what is really good for the land there.
Yeah.
To get it involved, to get a voice for the nature. We always want to solve everything, even not knowing anything anymore, what is good there. So having a different perspective in being a tree once, when you felt it, you never act the same as a human being, or being a stone, or being this part of the landscape, really like dissolve yourself into the landscape, being a part of it. And when I work, I don't feel Heike, I don't feel myself. I really go into field. That's the way how I be a part, and that's understanding of the other side, because it's still somehow the other side, we're saying. But when you really go into it, you have to dissolve yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no sides anymore.
Yes.
Yeah. It's beautiful. Like, I think so many of us have felt those moments, right? Like when we're maybe on a super long hike, or when you're by yourself and you just sit down and then all of a sudden time passes, or you're like, for me, just in the forest or like in the mountains, I have that feeling sometimes where you dissolve, where you just like lie. You've walked for a couple of hours and you lie down and you're not on your phone. You're not thinking about what you're supposed to do the rest of the day. You're just there and you're like looking up, feeling these majestic trees, starting almost like the earth is breathing in a sense. We've had that recently a couple of times when we were walking. We felt like the trees are moving or the earth is breathing, and it's like, are we tripping? Like, is this are we imagining this? Is this real? Is this what's going on? But it really feels something. I'm curious if you can speak to that as well. Like, even though for you it's always been always present, like you've guided a lot of people. When we are opening up our senses more and wanting to feel and communicate more with nature, the mind can also be in the way a lot. How do we deal with that?
Yes, it's really what I said first, really dissolve yourself, because if not, you go into ego state. It's always talking, like, that's not right, what you're doing here, you think you can do that, and things like that, always talking. So really, it's the state of being, feeling what you're saying, lie down, smell. That's also one of the first senses we do the training on, really intense watching all the details, intense smelling, intense listening, intense sensations, feelings, so that you get that back, because everything is so reduced in a way, because we cannot be that intense in our modern world. We will freak out. But when we do it in the nature, and we know that we need it. We need it when you go on a forest walk, you know how you recharge. It brings so much back energy. So we know we depend on it. We need it. And you get really a depression when it's for a long time not in nature, too much in the artificial world, too much in the artificial light and all that. So there's missing something. So the first thing is really trying to let the ego, like, okay, talk to me in any sense, I don't listen. So for me, even I'm like having a collection of different guides, like one is the ego, or one is the intuition, or the higher guide speaking. So that's like a lot of guides around. And when the ego is too much talking, then I say, sit down. I listen to you later. Now the others can come up and talk to me. So try to guide it a little bit, to really slow it down. Not that it's something bad. We have to live with it, and but to try to silence it for a while and say, okay, you can come on later, but now I listen to. And then to try to dissolve. And you think you lose something when you dissolve, but you win everything. You win your real power. Your real power, it's interconnection.
Beautiful. I'm curious if there's like something that you really want to share from your heart, something that you haven't shared yet.
Oh, yeah, I guess there's so much. It's and nature is not only the trees or what we're seeing. It's really a hidden world. It's around us. And like in Iceland, when I come back, they say there's hidden people. They really have a lot of stories to tell about interaction with the hidden people. And there's really a whole world to discover around us, who's living beside us, and we don't know it. And to discover it, it's an adventure. You could see it like that. It's really adventure, like diving into the deep ocean. We don't know yet what the life was there. We can easily discover it around us. So that's not only what you see and like the rocks and the trees. There's a whole world that's only not so manifest, not so much, but very close. And then our different ones, they are even on higher frequencies, but I'm not speaking about that now. I really want that, what is surrounded, that has so big value and really working with us. It's really getting us in alignment and awakening.
Yeah, beautiful. Gosh, I'm curious about the staff as well, because you brought it in Egypt. Matthias even used it in the pyramids.
Yes.
What's the story? How do you use it?
Yeah, it's like a longer sense for me to sense in the earth. So I first dreamed about the tree who wanted to work with me. So it's an ash tree for my home land, for my father's land. And this ash tree was in a storm falling down, so was in the transition of dying. So it was still there, and he has the energy already to the different realm. So this ash tree wanted to work with me. So it's a connection, an easier connection, a point to go into this network. I don't need it, but it's a help, you know, like you can calculate in your head, but you have a calculator. It makes it much more easier to calculate. So, and sometimes it's easy to reach something I want to connect with, like a river. I can connect with the water through, still feel the river, but I can probably, it's too dangerous to go down. Or I connect a lot with meersel, the mushrooms, because you can go in the internet. So I can sit there also and really into the earth and really take it as like antenna. And I know that ash tree is working with me. And it has a lot of rituals, you see. It's something we worked as a group with the wood. There are a group of like staff holders, and that means they are working with that kind of energy and with the earth. And there are only a few people I trained from my school. They are now staff holders, and so that they also trained in that way.
You say the internet, the mycelium network.
Yes.
Why did you say that? How does that feel like?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing because you can directly connect to the world. It's really internet. And for example, when you are first time on the land, like if you go first time to Australia, totally different. You are not connected. Everything is strange. The sound, the smell, the whole environment. And then you go into the internet and you ask, you have probably a tree friend at home, I don't know, oak tree or whatever. And then you connect to the internet to this oak tree who knows you since you probably little. And you ask this, please introduce me to Australia. You know me. Tell them who I am. And then he's telling all the stories. He gives them the information. And you're so welcome, if you're a good person, you know. Yes.
Wow. Yeah, it brings me to this ritual that you taught us in Egypt. So can you share about that? Like what you do every time you travel and how you connect to the land? Because I thought that was so powerful, and it goes back again to this, like, would you just walk into someone's house, or would you knock and introduce yourself and ask to come in?
Yes, yes. So I showed in Egypt that we do a ritual and like stepping really deep into a country consciousness, because every country also has built up a consciousness, like a bubble. And you can really step in that bubble when you ask for it. Like, same thing, as you said, you're going to a friend's home or a stranger home and you run in and said, I'm here. The first thing is, if you're a stranger, what are you doing here? Go out. Yeah, first reaction, you know, what are you doing here? So it's so different when you knock on the door and probably tell your purpose. That, oh, I'm here, I'm probably hungry, I'm lost, can I have a seat for an hour, or can I go to toilet or whatever? And then, okay, please come in as a guest. And when you behave, there's probably everything fine. And so it's also when you go into a country, I prepare myself already at home. I have a very strong connection to the mountain spirit, and then I ask also to connect to mountain spirits in the country, and to prepare already. I'm coming. So when I landing or I come by car or whatever, first is I'm here. I'm grateful. Can I be guest in the land? And then you do the ritual when you ready for it, like you make your line, and then you feel the line like standing in front of the door, and then you can loud with the words. You can also think it, but it's even more powerful when you talk it and say, okay, my name is Heike, and I'm here to learn about Portugal, and I want to stay here for a few days with friends and interact, and you tell all the story. And can I come in as a guest, being here for a while? And then you wait till you have the feeling you are pulled in, like a doors go open, and then you step on it. And then you are not outside the bubble, and I call it the bubble. It's like a balloon. You can have the balloon pushed in and never got in the balloon.
Yeah.
You go into Portugal, but you're never in the. And if the door is open, you're really in the bubble. You're in the balloon. You are welcome. You are protected. You are inspired. You are guided. It's so different from only being there as I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do that ritual often with a little gift, some flowers or something, what we bring, like you would go to friends again, friends' home. It's not necessary that you bring a bottle of wine.
It's nice.
It's nice, So it's also the same that I always bring something from home, like water from a holy well, or some little flowers or whatever. Yeah, what I think it's good for the land. And and that's also important when you're finished to step out and say thank you. And that we often forget that when we step in, there's also a saying goodbye and a step out. And then we also have again the line, and we have the feeling it's like a curtain. And then you stay on the other side and you say, okay, everything what don't belong to me stays in the country. I only take that with me, what is mine. And then you go to the curtain and have the feeling everything, the curtain holds back what is not yours. Because especially when, like here, we are in sacred places or something, and you open up, you want to feel it. There are all kinds of energies, and some, I call them like little monkeys. They're happy to stick with you, and you don't want to have that extra load.
Right.
And so it's also like a stepping in, stepping out. Yeah. So I wanted to give that as a gift to the group, as I do the teaching. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool. And if you're listening, watching, love for you to try that. It's quite powerful. You talked about this bubble of consciousness, like a country or other places. What is your, I don't know, like your definition or your concept of consciousness? How do you, because when we were talking like a couple of days ago, you also said like really the whole earth should be a bubble, but we have created all these bubbles, with our mind, it's around what we do, or it's around race, or it's around, whatever. I'm curious how you perceive that.
Yeah, that's also a part of the healing we can provide for the earth. It's of thousands of years, we were like creating separation in like cultural things and religious and political things first probably in tribes, languages, so many things. It's like different. So we created really fields and bubbles. And to make that again a whole bubble, a whole world where everything can blossom and not be that's mine culture, that is it's yours and mine. It's even worse when I say mine is better than yours. Yeah. We have a problem, you know, because we're always judging, and when we have differences, the judgment is on, and we have differences, but not in bubbles. It should be like one world. So that's also in a process. Like reconnecting. So I bring water from all the different places. Like I brought water now from Loch Ness in Scotland with me, and I brought it from a holy well in Germany. It's called the well Everything is Possible. This well has the name. So I brought that as a greeting to the land, and when I come, I leave the country, I take something from here to bring it again, so I reconnect many parts where I travel.
Beautiful. I love that. Amazing. Heike, I've enjoyed this so much. Is there, and I will also definitely links to your work, to your websites, for people to know more about what you're doing, if they want to work with you, if they have an issue they'd love for you to solve in their business, in their home, they will find you. I'm curious, as a, let's say, a parting message, what is your prayer for humanity?
The prayer is awakening, really awakening, because I always share with the nature, help to get humanity in this awakening process, because if we awaken, we are not destroying anymore, not in that way. And that's healing in both sides. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So grateful for your time. And to everyone watching and listening, thanks so much for joining us. And I hope this helped you and served you in learning what is possible, in connecting more with the nature outside and the nature within. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'd love to see you again next time. Bye-bye.